bought a can of carbonated water with CBD in it, and it was $5. So I don't know, man. I don't understand hydration anymore.
Very fancy water. Some jerk parked in front of my driveway and I was late for a gig. Did I call a tow truck? Hell yes, I did.
My neighbors have a house guest, and yesterday he was sitting naked in their yard wearing a mud mask.
My place is so damn small, I can clean the entire thing with a hand vacuum.
Kind of sounds handy. Have such a good day. Hello and welcome to Have Such a Good Day, the show that wants you to do just that.
Hey, folks.
Hey, folks and ladies. I guess ladies are folks.
Yeah, I think anybody could be folk.
I'm a fan of the term folks.
Oh, I am too.
But like folky, when someone describes something as like
music,
folksy, you're like, I don't know.
It has a little bit of that hippie vibe.
It does.
It's like clogs and like
it's old school.
Yeah, it is.
I get. Old folks. You never say like old hipsters.
No, you don't. Or old fogies. I know it's sort of sad. We should come up with some like really cool like words for old people, because I feel like it's like old biddy, old fogey. I mean, like, come on. We could do better than that.
Old school marm. I don't know.
Anyway, welcome everybody.
Yes, welcome to Have Such a Good Day. Heather and I are on a mission, and that mission is to turn your day around. You might already be having a good day, and if so, we're all in great company. We're so glad to have you, because we are on a mission to
turn your frown upside down.
Yeah, and maybe you're already smiling, and so you can turn our frowns upside down while the helicopter looks for the murderer overhead. I swear it isn't me this time.
It always happens right when we start, though. I'm telling you.
It does,
Timing is a biatch.
Well, karma and the universe are funny things.
They really are, Sarah.
Yeah, you might have done something bad yesterday, Heather, and so today it was like the universe said, the helicopter has to kind of go overhead once they start shooting.
It might have been because I called the tow truck company on the guy who blocked me in the driveway.
No, he was in the wrong.
That's true. I felt a little guilty, but I mean, I don't even know if he got towed. He might have just left, because by the time I got back, he was gone.
You know what's funny? I don't have a driveway that anybody could block currently, so whatever. I just get like parking tickets for like forgetting to move for street cleaning. But I do have a next door neighbor who, she's an odd bird, and she's almost never around. I don't really know what her story is. I don't know what's going on at that house. But since I've lived there, so in the last 6 months, there was a point where I was getting in my car. My car was right out front. I almost feel like I've told the story before. And so she could tell that I was coming out of my apartment building.
Okay.
And she runs up to me. And as she runs up to me, I realize that there's a note on my windshield, and I'm kind of like, what's happening? Who are you? Like, I've never met this woman. And yeah, like she had already put a note on my car because she had figured out that I lived there.
Okay.
Because she needed, like, there was some like septic thing that she had to talk to my landlord about, and like she thought maybe I was the landlord and wasn't sure, and there was a whole, and and it was like she was stalking me, like she was like waiting for someone to leave, where I was like, thank you for the note, I will be sure to let him know. And she was like, can I just have his phone number, like this is like really dire. And I don't even know if it was or not. He and my landlord, who's a man, I dutifully like sent him a text and was like, here's her information, and you need to get a hold of her, because I don't want to give her your information in case she's crazy.
Yeah.
But like she seemed pretty determined to like ruin my life,
like
otherwise.
His ex-girlfriend.
I really didn't ask, and he sort of wrote back curtly like, thank you, I'll handle it. And it was never spoken of again. But it was one of those things where it was like, like I wasn't blocking her driveway. It was a totally different situation, but one of those like neighbor things where you're like, sometimes you get like very bent out of shape about something that's like, I felt very innocuous, but she was, and for you, it's like you had somewhere to go. Like you didn't have 5 minutes to spare.
No, really. It was like, I couldn't believe it. I really did think I had bad karma too. I immediately think that the world is conspiring against me, because I think it was like Monday morning. And it was like, you know how I find Monday morning to be more hectic than usual. And like, I finally get myself in the car to leave and I'm running like 5 minutes late already.
Yeah.
And it's just like, are you kidding me? This is like comedy of errors. Like, you know, like sometimes I just can't believe there's certain things happen, but you know, it's chaotic out there. And then on my way, there's some random guy in the middle of the freeway, disoriented and covered in dirt. And I mean, it was just the weirdest thing. I'm like, are they shooting a movie? Yeah, on foot. Like in between the it was like these two barriers, and he was walking in between on the 101.
Oh,
no, it was a weird day. You know those days when you're like, God, am I in the Twilight Zone? Like everywhere I go, like something weird is going on, you know?
I had at my old apartment building when I lived on the other side of town here in LA, I didn't have a garage, but I had a carport, and it was great because it was 2 spaces. So, but tandem, right? So I only had 1 car, but if anybody came to visit, it was great because I'm like, oh, you just park behind me.
I remember I used to
have an extra space. Yeah. And there was this only happened a couple times, so I can't complain. It was extremely convenient, and it was a very hard neighborhood to park in, so I was happy to have it. But I remember like coming home once, and there was a strange car in like the inner spot, and I was like, well, F you, you know, and I just parked behind them and like went up to my apartment, like I don't care, like who are you? And eventually, someone knocked on the door, and it was this girl, and she was all out of sorts and like borderline upset with me for not leaving a note to like let her know where to find me. And I was like,
what did you say?
Middle finger.
You did give her the middle finger?
Well, I mean, I
you were like, dude, I pay for that spot.
It was highly implied. No, I think I said to her like, don't ever do that again, because I was in my pajamas and I had kind of forgotten about it.
I don't blame you.
And then there was one other time, this I actually do feel bad about it. It was not my finest moment, but somebody had parked behind me. So I didn't have to like do anything, but I had some house guest that was coming over, and it was like, we were like moving some, I don't remember what the situation was, but it was like, it was very important that he had a space behind me. And some asshole parked behind me because one of my neighbors was having a party. And so I wrote in lipstick on their windshields, don't ever park here again.
Oh no, yeah, that's
like I wrote a complete sentence, like with a period.
Oh yeah,
in lipstick, which is like pretty annoying to get off of your windshield. Like I didn't hurt the car, but I made it very difficult. Because if you do the wipers, then it's much worse.
And then it's like a slightly aggressive note, and it like ruins your day.
Oh, it was very aggressive.
But they deserved it.
They shouldn't have done it.
I like that you did it in lipstick. Nice touch.
It's all I had. Like, I'm like, what
you don't have pens. That's right. You don't own a pen.
But even if I had a pen, a pen would be like actually really mean, like, and maybe not come off of the windshield.
Oh, I see. You did it right on the windshield.
I wrote on the windshield.
That's brilliant. I'm gonna do that.
I even considered writing it backwards so that when they sat in
red rum.
Anyway, when my friend and they eventually left, and there was a lot of apologies, and it was a whole thing. A friend of mine or a neighbor of mine was having a party. Anyway, unimportant. But when my friend eventually did get the spot behind me, he was like, "Sarah, you should probably like buy her some donuts or something to apologize." And I'm like, "Fuck that."
No way, man. You know, it's funny how like some of those types of things just bring out the worst in us.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Or like someone cuts you off on the road, and it's just like, it's personal, you know? It's like, what? It's like a personal space thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Very much so. Well, and also, and the funny thing about it is that in that particular carport, most of the time there was just an extra space behind me. Mm-hmm. It wasn't as if if somebody is just desperate for a parking space, and I've got one, and I'm like in for the night, and somehow we could communicate that to each other, I wouldn't even mind.
Yeah.
It just happens to always be these scenarios where you're like, no, actually, you can't do that right now.
Yeah.
Like, you totally screwed up my night right now.
Yeah.
You know, like someone's coming over, and it's a whole thing.
It's an asshole move, for sure.
And let that be a lesson to all of you. You want to have a good day? Don't do that.
So, Sarah, do you want to know what we're doing in the bonus topic?
I would love to know, Heather.
We're trying some new stuff. We're going to see how this goes. You guys voted for it. It was a game that I posted in a poll. 2 truths and a lie. You might be familiar with this. It's essentially the player in the hot seat makes 3 statements about their life experiences, and you have to guess which ones are truth and which one is a lie. So there's 2 truths and a lie.
So the idea is that both of the truths might be
They might sound like a lie.
right. Like
Exactly.
they're like, whoa,
Yeah.
is that like,
And
did that really happen?
And it could be a mundane thing. Like it could be like,
I had milk with my cereal this morning, or did I?
no, I mean, maybe not that mundane,
Okay.
but it's like something like, I used to own a Corvette, or like something,
Yeah.
just something that is not like super fancy, but just, like, I don't know, you could have a lot of fun with it.
Okay.
But what we're going to do, we're going to try something different. Since Sarah and I know pretty much all the truths that exist about each other, I think it's
Unless
gonna
you've
be
been lying to me all these years.
We're going to actually task our Discorders. These are our $10 and above patrons who we chat on a regular basis in Discord. We're going to real time chat with them and have them answer these questions. So
All
it
right.
should be pretty fun.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
In the meantime, Sarah,
Yes.
how has your week been?
Oh, Heather, it's been fine. It's warming up here in the LA County, so I've been working at home as usual, and I've had the luxury of the way that my apartment is. I'm kind of up off the street and lots of windows and good crosswind, and I haven't really turned on my heat or my AC almost at all, with a couple exceptions since I've lived there, which is over 6 months now. And I definitely, when I was doing one of my shows in my studio, which it requires some lights being on and the window's got to be closed for soundproofing, I was like, ooh, good. Tomorrow I'm definitely going
Getting
to
stuffy.
just put the air on at least for this
For
2
sure.
hours of my life. Because, I was feeling a little ripe. That aside, I did try something new,
Oh, yes?
and that was a vegan burrito.
Oh, my gosh.
Now I'm perfectly fine with vegan food, and I'm not vegan, but I like the idea of vegan food. Why not?
Yeah, it can be tasty.
plant-based, great. And don't have dairy, okay. I mean, if it tastes good, I like it. Well, we have in our neighborhood a plethora of taco trucks. A plethora. They're not vegan, but they're often very tasty and well priced. The one that's right outside Lassen's that's like always out there.
Yeah.
That's like the #1 taco truck. Even though there are many others, like some of they always have themes. It's like this one is, I don't really know what the theme is except that tacos are $150. So it's like for $4.50,
Insane.
you have 3 tacos and you're super full. Like that's great value.
Yeah, great value.
Yeah, and then there's sort of the fish taco truck that's up the street a little bit, and then there's one that's like the burrito taco or burrito truck, and anyway, so and I've seen this plant-based vegan one that's right on kind of the main drag.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's there, and you unless you kind of look at the offerings on the side, because they'll kind of have the menu out on the side of the truck. It just looks like another taco truck. So you probably have walked by a bunch of times and not noticed. But the other night, I knew I didn't really have any food at home, and I was like, do I want to go to the taco truck? Like, I do, but I didn't have any cash, and blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, maybe I'll try this one. And as I look, I'm like, oh, this is like a weird taco truck. It's like, it unassuming, and the prices were still pretty good, a little bit higher, but they had weird ingredients. To the point where it's like, are we really talking burrito anymore? Or is this just a strange wrap? But it was definitely, the whole marketing was, we're a taco truck.
Yeah.
It's exactly what, with salsa and onions and, cilantro and the whole thing. Anyway, so the burrito that I gave in, I got one. They also took cards. So that was why I decided on the taco truck. Of course, plant-based taco truck, you have to take cards. And it was like cauliflower, squash.
Wow.
It
was a burrito.
It
It was a taco, big taco.
It was a burrito.
Okay.
It was definitely a burrito. Took me a couple days to eat the whole thing.
Did it have a fake cheese in it?
No.
Oh.
Not at all. It was like...
Was it bland?
No. It was good. It was soupy, kind of.
Ooh.
So it was moist and...
That sounds good.
It was good, but I mean, I took the first bite and I was like, what in the heck? Like, what? This is like kind of not a burrito. It looked a lot like one, you know, wrapped in tin foil and the whole thing. But it was, I would get it again. But I borderline want to say to them, call this something else.
Like a vegan Rito or something. Veggie Rito.
Or no, something. Don't call it that. That sounds lamer. I think that they knew that would like no one wants that.
Yeah,
it's just a burrito.
Sure.
And they had the name of the taco truck is, let's call it, like, it wasn't Sopa, but let's just say it was Sopa.
Sure.
It's like the Sopa signature burrito. You know, when I was like, I want the signature, whatever your signature is, like, I want that one. So anyway, it was pretty good, but it was weird.
Yeah.
But I felt like I got a lot of vegetable nutrition when it was all over.
Good for you. You know, our neighborhood is filled with every kind of taco from one end of the spectrum to the other. I mean, it's really, there's really no lack of tacos surrounding us.
Any taco you want. You want vegan? We got it. You want it to be $1?
You want it? Yeah. Or like, I went to Guisado's last night, got 3 tacos for $7. Whatever it was.
Did they ask you on the scale of 1 to 10 how hot you wanted it? And did you say 10?
Nope, I said 7.
And did that feel right?
I gotta say, the chicken, I got chicken tinga. It was really hot this time, and I've gotten that one before. But you know, I think sometimes it's hard to gauge. Like, I'll often cook with jalapenos. Some jalapenos aren't very hot. Others are very hot. Once you get into the seeds and they're sitting around in your refrigerator for a few days, it gets hotter over time. And like, you know, you can't always gauge like how hot your sauce is going to be. Yeah. And so this one was real hot. In fact, it was a little too hot for me, I think. And I like really spicy. Yeah. But it was good. You know, it's an interesting week. Well, not for LA, but you know, mushrooms have been legalized in Oakland.
I heard that,
which is kind of interesting.
Like mushrooms that you'll trip off.
Yeah,
of.
Like psychedelic mushrooms and plants, even like there's other. I don't know much other than like the psilocybin like mushrooms. But there are other like plants that are psychotropic. Yeah. And yeah, it's legal.
Well, the whole microdosing thing is all the rage.
It really is.
Mushrooms and LSD and for not just like because we want to do drugs, but like
for depression and anxiety.
Like to work through like life
absolutely.
Stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe we'll microdose on one of the episodes.
Maybe we will. Maybe we will
have a little. We'll start twirling.
Anyway, there was a episode of Reply All, which is a podcast that many of you may have heard of. It's one of my favorite, and it was two of the two of the people who work at Gimlet Media, which is the company that produces the show. As an experiment for a future episode, for a week, they both microdosed and didn't tell anybody, and just like went to work.
And did anybody notice?
No.
Wow.
But they knew. They noticed.
Sure.
They knew like when they would react certain ways to things, or how they would like handle an issue, or how they felt at an employee meeting. And then they sort of compiled all of their data and then like told everybody and made an episode out of it. And everyone was like, "What? You did? What the hell?" And it seemed like overall a pretty positive thing.
Yeah, totally.
And this is people like, they're just going to work like regular.
I don't think I have a friend who does. I have a couple friends who microdose, and I mean, you don't really get. I don't think you get much of a high. You know, you get maybe a little bit more of a body high, but I don't know. It would be fun to experiment. But you know how I don't love Mondays. You know, I'm like Garfield. I have a really hard time.
Unlike the rest of the world, Heather doesn't like Mondays.
I'm the only one in the entire universe that doesn't like Mondays.
Yeah.
No, I try really hard to like. Sometimes I'll have a good Monday, but I think I just put so much pressure on myself, like the new week starting and like so much stuff to do and whatever. Yeah. But this last Monday, I, you know, of course was like, oh great, like what's going to happen on Monday that's going to be, you know, give me stress or whatever. A friend invited me to a matinee at 2:00. I went and saw Interview with a Vampire on the big screen, and it was again Quentin Tarantino's movie theater, the New Beverly.
Oh, okay.
And it was wonderful. And I realized I was like,
we're talking about like the Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah, the original. Yeah, great movie. One of my favorites.
Good movie.
So great to see on the big screen. Yeah. And this was a big screen. It wasn't like the smaller movie theater screens. You know, this was like a legit theater. But it was cool because I thought no one's going to be in here. Like 2:00 on a Monday. Oh, it was pretty packed. I was like, a lot of people.
Well, this is LA.
I know. They're like freelancers, independent contractors.
So no one's ever. There's never really a lull.
No, there's
in the middle of the day. Like that's the best thing about like actors who have like night like waitressing gigs
totally.
And stuff like that. It's like people are.
I know sometimes
people are out and about.
I was on the freeway like at 1:45, like just a really really random time of the day. And it felt like rush hour. I was like, where's everybody going? I mean, this is insane. Like, anyway, it's LA for you.
Indeed. Well, that sounds fun.
It was a fun diversion.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
I love a good matinee.
Lessen the blow.
Yeah. I actually haven't been to a movie theater in, oh my gosh, I can't even tell you how long. I mean, it's been over a year.
You know, we got to go. There's a couple in Los Feliz and one, well, it's on the borderline of Silver Lake, but they're really cute. Like there's one in particular is really cool, like Egyptian, like really cool interior and stuff. You should go.
I love going to the movies. I just, I
know you gotta get in the rhythm.
I just work from home and I watch a lot of movies at home.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh gosh, speaking of, this is apropos of nothing, but what was it called? Giant Little.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Giant Little Ones. Mm-hmm. Watched that the other night.
Is it good?
Yes, it is really good.
I've never heard of it.
I hadn't either. It's a sort of small. I don't want to say Canadian movie, but it is based in Canada.
Yeah.
In sort of they don't really say what town it is, but it's sort of like every town. Canada rather than the U.S., which you can kind of tell because you're like, where is this?
Yeah.
But it's a coming of age teenage movie.
Cool.
And there's some sexuality situations going on to the point where I think it would not be the movie for everybody. Mm-hmm. But as no coming of age movie would be. Sure. That's kind of heavy. But I really liked it.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a good one. I think you'd like it a lot.
I'm gonna add it to. I have an ongoing what I need to watch movie list, and I add to it all the time.
Good. Yeah. Well, watch it and let me know what you think.
I will.
So in the New York Times over the last week, which is really funny because I was just thinking of, well, and you and I, Heather, talk about this all the time, just kind of nostalgia for yesteryear and the 90s and the 2000s and music that we would have liked and what is sort of held strong and what has really aged badly. And I don't think about the band Hootie and the Blowfish all that often, but I certainly know them, and they were certainly a big deal. And the New York Times had basically gotten together with these four men who are now all in their 50s. And Darius Rucker's the frontman, right? And I don't remember anyone else's name. I'm very sorry. You're all wonderful. But it was a really interesting, just kind of like how they felt about the fact that they were a really big deal, but they were also kind of mocked.
Yeah, they were.
For being too soft or being too like, I don't know, like country rock and sort of like sweet songs. And there's also, and we don't even have to get into it, but there's sort of like a racial thing because the frontman was black and the other three men in the band were white. And it was sort of like, what was his identity and what was he doing? And so there was certain stuff that was happening at the time. And for anybody who's like, Hootie and the Blowfish, never heard of them. Well, I mean, you obviously were born in the last 20 years, and that's fine. But you probably do remember them. But I'll just remind you that Cracked Rear View was their album that had several smash hits on it. It was released in 1994. So that was a year that was kind of pivotal for music because it was like grunge was kind of ending. We were moving into something else. It kind of lasted a little bit longer, but Hootie and the Blowfish is very much not grunge. It's a little bit more Dave Matthews Band, I guess. But even that genre has always been hard for me to define.
Totally.
I kind of like it sometimes, but I don't really understand. When you say like jam band stuff, like I'm like, ooh, God, no, please.
I used to be pretty into Fish, but that was like in college, and they're considered a jam band. Really,
well, Fish is like a full,
very
like
specific.
Like that's like. It's sort of like you go to their concert, which I went to a couple of Fish concerts, and they were really fun.
Yeah, they are.
But not really my jam either. But it was
no pun intended.
It was, but yeah, this article was, it was interesting to hear how the Hootie men have kind of, they realized their place in music history because they had a bunch of hits, and then they had a follow-up album that it had critical acclaim, but it didn't have the same kind of acclaim that the first album did with just the audience who would be buying their albums. And they've gone on to do solo projects, and there's some, it's funny, it's like there's a mixture of them being like, we're a really big deal and we know it. These, like #1 hits, like top of the charts, like you can't take that away from us.
Totally.
At the same time, there are a lot of reasons why we did get mocked, why studio executives did pass on our music, why our music today wouldn't work anymore.
Sure.
Why we would have to be a country band now.
Yeah.
They weren't then, but they were like, if we came on the scene right now, we'd have to go with some sort of we'd have to sign with a country label.
Because they were sort of considered like indie, right?
Yeah.
Because like the indie thing is sort of...
But it's pretty country.
Yeah.
I went to YouTube where you can find anything and listen to a couple of the songs like Hold My Hand, which is Hold My Hand. Like everyone knows that song.
Them. I like their name though. I like Hootie and the Blowfish. It's
You
kind
don't
of cool.
know that song?
I mean, not when you sing it, but I'm sure that I would if I heard it on the radio.
So if I say, and there's nothing I can do, I only want to be with you.
Oh, of course. I totally know.
That's
Of
Hootie and the
course.
Blowfish.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Thank you. So anyway, it was interesting to walk down memory lane with a band that was never my favorite, but I always sort of had an affinity for them, and I wanted them to succeed because they were kind of weird, and they seemed like nice folks.
What are they doing today?
Chilling. Darius Rucker has a pretty successful independent career.
Cool.
And they have a studio in, I want to say South Carolina. I think I'm right about that, where they're still in the music scene.
Yeah.
And they all seem like they're pretty tight still.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, I think that you probably know more about this story I'm talking about than I do.
Okay.
But we'll see. So do you ever, I don't know, this is something that I'm pretty excited about.
I actually reported on this story earlier this week.
How
so
funny.
yes, I do.
We have a hive mind. But I think about this a lot because how often do you, and this doesn't happen that often, but like the other day I saw a girl who had a pair of they were like loafers, or they were like almost like sandals that had like black and white checkerboard print on them. And I've never seen anything like that. I mean, there's tons of checkerboard shoes out there, but these in particular were very unique. And so she was in line behind me at the grocery store, and I asked her, whoa, those are cool. Like, where are those from, or what's the brand? And, Amazon is now they're calling it kind of like the Shazam of clothing. And so basically you could take a picture. So instead of me bothering this poor girl, I could take a picture of her shoes and post it to the Amazon app. Right now it's only on Amazon. This is probably not going to be that useful for me now because it's only with Amazon clothing that you can buy on Amazon and not other sites. And I don't buy clothing on Amazon. But it's AI that I think will eventually be really, really cool because I could say, ooh, I saw this girl walking down the street with something I really like. Let me take a picture. I'm going to upload it. And the AI figures out, okay, we're going to find something that matches it. The style, the shape, the size, the color, like the pattern and stuff. I love that because I can't tell you how many times, even if I'm coming across something like a photograph online, and you don't know I don't know what the brand is, but I love that shirt or whatever. And then I can just I've always wanted to do that. I've always thought that is something that would have probably been developed sooner than now, I don't know. I'm really excited about this. I don't buy clothing on Amazon. I don't think I ever have. So it's not going to be it's not that exciting for me, but it uses this you probably know more about this, the machine learning stuff.
Yeah. The tool is called StyleSnap. It actually was developed by a company, and the name is escaping me right now, but it was bought by L'Oreal a couple of years ago. So this technology actually has been in use by some of L'Oreal, huge brand.
And ASOS, I think, uses it.
Maybe so. Yeah. And yes, it's something that within Amazon's mobile app right now you can use. In fact, I did a little test on it.
You did?
Yeah, earlier this week. So I was wearing a black t-shirt with red letters.
Okay.
And so and you sort of use the front-facing camera and just take a little snap, and then it kind of does this little thing. And that didn't work that well because what it did was it was like red and black. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
There's letters. So it offered up like t-shirts that were the same. They were black with red letters, but like they just like said weird stuff.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, if it's
Sure.
a slogan or something, you'd say that's very personal.
For sure.
But I was like, okay, I get it. So you're not reading the letters, but you're getting some of the data. I also uploaded a photo of you and me and Jessica Corbin from a
cool.
wedding that we all
Yeah.
went to last year. And that was interesting too because we were all wearing dresses. And I was like, how is it going to figure, what's it going to do? And really what it did was it just like decided to like focus on my dress.
I was going to say,
because
having
like
multiple people might throw it off.
Well, because it's sort of like you don't probably want an aggregate of all three because that's not like when would you really want that? But I couldn't be like, no, I want Heather's dress.
Yeah.
Heather in the middle rather than me on the right side. So it was like, it was a little bit out of my hands. Although I will say, because the dress that I happened to be wearing was sort of flowery and very colorful. And it was like, the stuff that it gave me was pretty good. Like I was like, some of the stuff is pretty close to what I was actually wearing.
Did it come up with like the exact dress that you were wearing?
No,
like
certainly not. No. No, this was not something that you would be able to get on Amazon, but something where it's like, if you're looking for a theme and a color pattern, it was pretty close.
Cool.
And then the last one, it was a friend of mine who was wearing a very simple white dress. But, well, when I say simple, it was like kind of short and white, but, it was sort of structured and super cute. But what Amazon gave me was other white dresses where I'm like, they're not really like this dress. Like just saying like white and sort of short is not enough.
Yeah, it like needs more. It's such the simplicity of the garment is probably hard for the AI to decipher.
And in all three of these cases, I thought it was kind of silly because I'm like, I'm just using my own photos, so it's like. It's going to be rare that I'm like, hey, I have this funny, cool shirt with, red lettering on black. I want another one. Like, no, I already have the shirt. So it's really meant more for snapping stuff, as you said, like the girl at the grocery store or getting a screenshot offline where you're looking for something similar. So it has a ways to go, but it is a cool feature for sure.
Very cool. Like I'm going to keep watch on that for sure.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, Heather. You keep watch and you let me know if you find those checkered loafers.
I will, because I haven't looked them up yet, but I would like to see if they're still available. No.
Did you find out where?
She did. She said they were from Urban Outfitters, which makes a lot of sense. And they sometimes will do these like special like, style that's just like, they only have a certain amount and then they sell out and they don't make them again. They do that a lot.
Oh.
So anyway, I don't know.
Sort of specialty loafer.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, if you want to learn more about this kind of thing and about us, our truths and our lives, please go to patreon.com/havesuchagoodday.
Please do. That's where you can find out where Heather and I have lots of goals for the show. One of the goals, we talked about this last week, we'll talk about it again, is that we'd like to do 2 shows a week. We know that we've got a lively and growing community, and we love all of you, and we'd love to give you more content. So that's one of the things that we'd like to do if we raise enough money to make it financially feasible for us to take the time and work a little bit harder, but we'd like to. But we have all sorts of other fun perks for patrons at variety of levels, starting at just $1 a month and going up to infinity. So,
like for example, you could get like some extra content, behind the scenes stuff for $5 and above. Plus, you get to participate in choosing the bonus topic. And then for $10, you can be in our Discord community.
Yes.
And you get your name in the credits.
That's
There's all kinds of little things, and we're always trying out new things and talking about things and what we could do differently. So if you guys have any ideas, please email us at hi@havesuchagoodday.com. Wanted to quickly shout out a couple new patrons, Grant M.
Hi, Grant M.
And 2120 South Michigan Avenue.
Oh, a street as now a patron of our show. That's wonderful.
Isn't it? And I wanted to also mention one of our VIP kind of Discord patrons, Leah. She just had a baby, and her name is Karis Marina.
Leah, we love you. Anybody in the Discord knows that we were like, yay! It's
We
now
were
such
very
a good
excited.
day, baby. Well, it's Leah's baby, but but yeah, Leah was like so generous enough to let us in on. I feel like we were like the first
It was
people
awesome.
who knew
I loved
about it.
Yeah.
Probably
Sent us
besides her own family,
pictures
sent us
and-
pictures, and Karis Marina is such a beautiful name.
Very, very beautiful.
And
Very
we're-
unique.
And we're so glad that you're part of our community, little baby.
Yes. I know it's our first little Have Such a Good Day baby. It's very exciting.
It is very exciting. So congrats again to
Yeah,
Leah
seriously.
and the fam. We're so glad that you're doing well. I want to know more about 2120 South Michigan Avenue.
Me too.
Because I'm like, who are you?
Show yourself.
Show yourself. Because because I think Michigan Avenue, and I'm like, oh, it's Chicago. There's probably lots of Michigan Avenues.
Oh, yeah.
So that
All
I
around
don't-
the world.
I don't know. Yeah. But I like to think I might know who it is, and it's maybe somebody who's like talking to me in code. But I think that's probably
Wouldn't that be fun?
Probably not true. But
Well.
that's one of my lies.
It would be fun to
For our
pull back
bonus
the
topic
curtain
later
on that
on.
one. Yeah, I like it.
So Heather,
Yes.
when's the last time you were in a helicopter?
Oh boy, gosh. I mean, like probably 20 years ago. I think I did something above like San Francisco Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like once. I think I was in a helicopter once.
I think I was in a helicopter also once. It was actually in Iceland, and Heather's cat has just now opened the door. And is this a problem?
Yeah, I think that this might be a problem.
Okay. That was dramatic, Charlie. Jeez. You never know what you're gonna get on the show. You little nuts. All right. Well, while Heather is putting her cats away, I'll set this up a little bit. So yeah, I haven't been on a helicopter I think I've only been on a helicopter once that I can recall. It was in Iceland. It was actually really cool. But
Oh, cool.
small helicopter. But speaking of helicopters, Uber, you know Uber.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Uber, the ride-hailing service that also delivers most of my foods, now has a new service. It's launching in July, so next month, called Uber Copter. Not to be
Unbelievable.
confused with Rafflecopter, which is totally different. Although I guess you could Rafflecopter, Uber Copter if you wanted to. Starting helicopter service next month. Now it's a small service to start. What it is it will take you from Lower Manhattan in New York to JFK Airport, which is outer Queens, which
It's
is
brilliant because the traffic is just brutal.
traffic is bad. And that takes about 8 minutes. Now, that's 8 minutes in the air. So door to door, once you get to JFK, it's going to take a little bit longer.
Because it takes like an hour. I mean, it would take more than an hour to get to Lower Manhattan.
I mean, it's a nightmare.
It's really it
Now,
really is.
again, like I said, this is somewhat restricted service. So it's not just for like you or me. You'd have to be an Uber Platinum or Diamond reward member. So these are people who are like, I don't know, your company probably has a
Sure.
corporate account, or you're just like using Uber so much that this makes sense to you. It also is Monday through Friday in the afternoon. So it's sort of, when I think
There's
like
some limitations.
when I think Lower Manhattan, I'm like, all right, Wall Street.
Yeah.
And I say that like that's, like I don't like financial people, which is not true. I like them very much, well, most of the time. But so it's basically it's like people who've got disposable income, because these rides are going to be somewhere between $200 and $225 per person.
Which is not that bad when you think about it, because a taxi, I mean,
Well, a
it could
taxi-
be a lot more expensive.
A taxi is going to be under $100
It
because
will.
they'll do a flat rate to JFK.
Maybe like $60.
But if you're in a hurry
Yeah.
and your lifestyle is such that you might be in the afternoon, hey, I've spent the day down talking with somebody at Morgan Stanley. I got to go to JFK. And, I can get in a helicopter that seats 5. But you don't have to like worry about like filling it up yourself. It's sort of like an Uber pool. And there's a couple pilots in there. So assuming they know what they're doing, it's relatively safe. We'll see. It is one of those sort of like, I can see myself in a moment of desperation.
I could see you doing it too.
Like, I need to get on that plane
Yeah.
kind of thing. I also just want to take a helicopter
It would be such a fun
across
experiment.
New York
Oh, yeah.
to JFK and just feel like a baller. I don't know when I'm going to do that. In fact, I don't even know when the next time I'm going to be in New York is. It's been a while. But that's a new thing.
I love it.
And so
I
this
would be
is
into it
this
too.
is sort of the beginning of what I assume if the whole it's not a trial. I mean, it's a real service that they're offering. But if it all goes well, I can see them expanding to, okay, let's say San Francisco, same idea.
Sure.
From SFO to, I don't know, what Palo Alto.
From downtown LA to LAX.
That too.
Hey, you know what? Actually, this is interesting. I recall being at an event years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Comic-Con or one of these cons, and they had some of these flying around. Like was it CES? It was at CES many years ago, and they were testing out this Uber chopper thing.
Yeah.
This was probably 4 or 5 years ago.
That was a little bit more of a novelty though. That was more of a like take a ride above the city in the Uber, you know.
Yeah, less of a like transportation solution.
Right.
Okay.
And this is really designed to get you from point A to point B in a very short amount of time for a lot of money, but not like thousands of dollar money. It's almost like worth it.
I agree. I mean, I feel like, well, per person you're talking, but like when you take a taxi with someone else, you're not paying per person. But it's still, I would imagine that would be more like $300 to $500. I think it's actually kind of a good deal. But
price is coming down for the Uber Copter.
Well, more choppers are going to disturb our recording, so you can look forward to that.
Can't wait.
Hey, Sarah, I am curious to hear what you think about this. The other day someone said to me, I don't know what we were talking about, but this woman who's in her mid to late 50s said, I don't never really need a lot of sleep. I usually get 4 to 5 hours a night, and I have for years, for like my entire life. I just don't need a lot of sleep. And she's just like a really energetic, kind of sharp, like athletic person, you know. And I've often had people say to me, I'll sleep when I'm dead, you know, kind of thing, that kind of expression that I've never related to because I just enjoy sleep so much. I wish that I could be that person. I think I'm kind of jealous of people who only need 4 to 5 hours of sleep. I need like 7 to 8 hours. I mean, sure, I could go a day or two here and there and not get a ton of sleep, but I feel it. I wish that I could be more like those people and be super productive around the clock and only need a few hours. Anyway, there was an article in the New York Times talking about how detrimental sleeping that little can be to your productivity. It's a performance killer, as they were saying. It's basically missing one night of sleep can really impair your memory. And I find, it's funny because I sort of envy night owls. Like I feel like when I'm up really late, kind of tinkering with stuff, I really feel like I have a creativity that I don't have any other time of day. And sometimes I go, you got to try to tap into that. Like stay up late, see how it is, maybe do some writing. It's hard for me. I kind of hit a wall at like 10:30, 11. That's just like my natural circadian rhythm. And the whole circadian rhythm thing is like your body naturally produces melatonin. And so if you cut into that natural rhythm and you end up waking up groggy, you'll be groggy throughout the day, and that kind of thing. I know that you sometimes have trouble sleeping, and there's weeks where it's pretty brutal. I mean, how do you feel about this? Like, I'm a little envious of these people who don't have to worry about it so much.
It's funny, I was just having a conversation with some folks about this the other day, and the idea that I know people. Well, I mean, I can think of like 2 people who are like, yeah, I don't really sleep more than 4 hours a night, and I've been doing that for years, and everything's fine. And it's like, these are people who have their shit together.
Yeah.
They might be like superhumans if they got more sleep, but for whatever reason, that's just how it works with them. It doesn't work that way with me. If I was to get 4 to 5 hours of sleep for more than a couple nights in a row, I would start to kind of break down.
Oh yeah.
And I do have a problem sleeping. I have chronic insomnia. Not every night, but it happens. It just is. And there are times where, it's like, when you wake up after you've been in bed for 8 hours and you think like, okay, well, assuming that you've slept, you're going to feel pretty good in the morning. If you're hydrated and you had a good dinner last night and you didn't drink too much alcohol and all that stuff. Well, there are so many times where I'm like, I laid in bed for 8 to 9 hours and I just didn't sleep. And like
such an awful feeling.
There's so much dread associated with like, I can see the sun coming up and now I have to do it. I have to have a day now.
Like you got to work.
I got to do, like, and it's like, and I know I'll probably get through it, but there are and most of the time you kind of just suffer and then you're so tired that you sleep the next night and then it kind of all you sort of catch up. But yeah, I think probably what this article is pointing to is we don't really though.
Yeah.
You can't just sort of like miss some stuff because cumulatively over a course of 7 days, it's like, no, you didn't get enough sleep. Like you can't just like, oh, I'll just like sleep the next night and then I'll be okay.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No, it's like you're kind of like you're robbing yourself of like brain power.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it causes like depression and, I think a lot of these really productive people, you hear a lot about it a lot. These very successful, productive people are like, I get up at 4 a.m. and I go to the gym and I make a smoothie and then I have an early meeting and then I do some writing and then, and it's like, man, I would love to be that prolific, but like, I just don't think I would be if I could do maybe one night a week, getting 5 hours, but even that just like throws me off.
Yeah, it's funny. I haven't talked about dating in a while, and I don't actually want to go down that rabbit hole. But there was a guy who I was hanging out with a little bit, and he sort of is kind of in the entertainment world in a different way than me, and there were a couple instances where he sort of was suggesting that we get together, and I'm like, at 10:30, like that's when you want to like meet up.
I'm an old biddy.
Like we're just like, I mean, even on like a Saturday, I'm like, I'm not like starting a night at 10:30.
No,
like I'm just not
so much anymore.
I never really was, but yeah, there are people who are sort of like, I mean, oh, okay, is that late? And I realized after hanging out with him a couple of times, no fault of either of ours, but I'm like, I don't actually think that this would work. Like, you sort of look into the future, like we're super in love, which we weren't, but like, we're an item, and like, are you just gonna be like out all night, and like I have to get up at 6, and like,
no, that's huge.
And there is something to that. Like some people really, and he was sort of like, he was a night owl.
Yeah, I mean, I dated a bartender for a while, and it was like a deal breaker. I mean, he wouldn't get home until 4:30 in the morning. You have to close the bar. But he liked it. I mean, he was definitely a night owl. He got up at 11 every day. Oof. Yeah, see, I'm more of a morning person. I think I'm sharper in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't get up as early as you, but like I get up between 6:30 and 7-ish.
Well, sometimes I push it. Yeah, somewhere between 6 and 7, I would say. And I'm sure that if my lifestyle was such that I could just shift everything.
Yeah.
Like if I was just up late and then slept in more, it's like that would probably be fine as long as there was that amount of sleep that was being had. But I do think that, the lifestyle and blending someone into that is, you can't really understate how weird that can be when you're not on the same schedule.
Oh, no, definitely. I mean, I feel like it's not going to work,
Yeah.
like on so many levels. You eat dinner at a different time. I mean, most likely.
Right. And you have to, someone's sleeping, and so you're tiptoeing around and, all that junk.
Not for me.
Not for me either. You know what is for me?
What?
Our patrons. See what I did there? We love not only our patrons, but everybody who just like gets the word out about the show. If you enjoy the show, you can leave us an iTunes review. Those are always helpful.
Oh man, I would love one of those. It makes me so happy. It's like that.
Please help Heather be happy.
Have a better day.
She was so downtrodden just then. She wants.
I love me an iTunes review.
She wants an iTunes review so badly. HaveSuchAGoodDay.com is a great way to, if someone's like, I don't know, patron, what is this podcast you keep talking about? Just send them there. All of our links are there, and also we
YouTube.
We also are on YouTube, and we also have a custom URL.
We do.
Now.
It's youtube.com/c/HaveSuchAGoodDay.
Yeah, they're all C.
Yeah.
So great.
Come find us. And in fact, we're trying to, we have a different audience on YouTube, and I feel like it's fairly significant. We're trying to pay more attention to some of these other platforms because I know you guys enjoy, everybody has their preference. So
yeah, and just a reminder, we talked about this a little bit last week, but on YouTube, what we're going to do is, the anybody who's getting the bonus show, that's for patrons only, $5 and up.
And the extra videos are not, they're unlisted, so you won't be able to see those on YouTube. Those are patrons only.
Yeah, so that's anything bonus is for patrons. However, if you like the show and you're not in a position right now to be a patron, that's cool. You will get the regular video. It will be posted about a week after the fact. So it's more fun to get it right away, and it's certainly more topical. And you're almost real time with us as a patron, but we do understand that people consume content in lots of different ways, and we want to
make everybody happy.
We want to make you all part of the family and explore all the different ways we can do that. Speaking of emails, Heather.
And as much as I love an iTunes review, I also really love an email. And you guys can email us at hi@havesuchAgoodday.com. I'd like to shout out a couple emails we got this week this is actually from Facebook, Bob Odie. He says, I don't have much in common with these ladies, but I thoroughly enjoy them on Patreon. I always look forward to their next episode. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah.
Super sweet.
As we know, we do have some audience members, because a lot of you have said so. I mean, some of you say like, oh, I have a lot in common with you. And a lot of you are like, I don't, but I like the show anyway. And I think that's
it's great.
That's very heartwarming.
Oh,
to me,
yeah, for sure.
Because Heather and I are, I mean, if we're anything on the show, we are pretty much ourselves.
For sure.
There are no airs being put on the show.
Not. No filters.
So if you like it, it is such a compliment, because there is, I mean, not that we don't try, but we're absolutely ourselves.
We are trying to make a podcast that is really raw and true, and we're not trying to be something else. We want to be ourselves, and that's the beauty of it.
Also got an email from Ed Carnes, who says, love the show, keep up the good work. Ed, short and sweet, love it. Just wonderful. Ed and Bob, you're our 2 stars for the week. But thanks to everybody else who emails us and gives us feedback and has questions and all that good stuff. Well, Heather, I think it's about time for our bonus topic. So we're going to wrap up this regular show for everybody, but $5 and up patrons, stick around. We've got a bonus topic.
It's an interesting one.
It is 2 truths and a lie. I
You
don't even know what I'm going to say. I'm going to figure it out on the fly.
Well, I was going to say, it's too bad that you can actually backtrack if you want to become a $5 patron. You can listen to this a little bit delayed, but you can still listen to it.
What does that mean?
Well, meaning that you can, after you hear the show, you can become a $5 patron and then listen to the next bonus topic. Is my point.
We're gonna get our ducks in a row one of these days, and we'll actually know what we're doing. Patreon. It's a wild world.
It really is.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up this regular show. Thanks everybody for watching and listening. Have such a good day. Until next week, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Heather. Bye.
Bye.